found the skeleton, how would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey there, everybody. Dapper Dinosaur here. I am currently without a guest. There's a possibility someone might be joining a little bit later, but for right now, it's just all of you and me. So, I apologize. Originally, this was scheduled to be a Matt with Maddie. Maddie couldn't be here. As far as I know, everything's okay, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so because she couldn't be here, I came up with the laziest thumbnail of my entire channel's life. And I figured I would just continue on with the show from Dapper Reacts. So this is a continuation of what I was responding to or reacting to, was it Saturday, I believe? Yeah. So that'll be fun. And this time, because it's a Tuesday, it will be one of the drinking streams. We've got the drink counters up. I have myself here a rather nice pina colada. It's been kind of a weird week. Like, this weekend, like, I cut my hand in the kitchen, and like I spent almost the entire day today in bed because I wasn't feeling well. So like, yeah, I need something with some sugar to help keep my energy levels up right now, because my goodness, I was kind of dead most of the day. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is that we're going to go over the drinking rules, because with the drinking show comes the drinking rules. So remember, before we actually get into these though, if you decide to play along and you decide to use alcohol or any other recreational substance that is legal in your jurisdiction, please do so responsibly. Know your limits. Know how much you can and can't drink. Don't then go, after imbibing these, you know, sort of mood-altering things, go ahead and drive or operate heavy machinery. Because for one thing, the Dapper Dinosaur show and all of its guests and affiliates or whatever takes absolutely no responsibility or liability for any damage to yourself or to property or to other persons, death, dismemberment, any of that. So be careful. Also, we have Royland Hutchins, who for $2 sends a Mothra emoji, the tetrapod emoji, and is telling Kent to get bent with emojis. So we'll take a drink for that, because Mothra is one of our drink triggers. Okay, so other drink triggers include that one. So that was anytime any milestone chat or super chat is sent, it contains Mothra, Godzilla, or King Ghidorah as emojis, or if attempts were made to send them as emojis, because I know that on some platforms, the emoji sending is kind of broken. And also I know that some of my fans have accessibility issues on YouTube, and so we're a little lenient. If it looks like there was an effort, then we'll take a drink. But also, as another drink trigger has just been triggered, Too Young to Feel As Old just gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Thank you very much. They went to Liska Day Babbitt, Bio Ali, Dr. Legendre, I think, Crypto457, and Joel Duff. And of course, we take a drink for each one of those. So here comes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, I'm gonna get brain freeze by the end of this, because yeah, this is full of crushed ice. Okay, so other drinking triggers include anytime the creationist says something that's just so stupid that we need to just kind of drink to cool our brains down, you know? Like extra coolant. Make sure that your brain doesn't just melt out. Whenever they get something right, that they're not just quoting. So it actually has to be original thought. It's theirs. We will drink for that. Whenever the creationist, I don't think it'll happen much because this is ICR, this isn't like Enthoven or Matt Powell, but like, if the creationist does in fact bring up the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or various of their activities or prominent members of that party, then we will take a drink for that. Also, they tell a story that didn't happen or tell a joke that didn't land, take a drink for that. And I'm probably forgetting something. I don't know. If I forget something... Oh, predictions, but I'm the only one here, so it doesn't really matter. Probably won't drink for predictions since I'm the only one here. I think that's it. And so I want to say, hey, I see Sal's in there. Welcome, Sal. Sal is the only creationist who's ever actually been on one of these Tuesday streams as a guest. And Inkboy just joined, sorry, the channel memberships at Tetrapod. So everyone, send some Tetrapod emojis to thank Inkboy. Of course, if you want to join the channel, you can wait for someone to gift a membership, but you can also just opt to simply get yourself a membership below. There's a Patreon below. And also, right before we start, I want to thank Jonathan Leyendecker, who you may remember from my credits, patron of mine, who also got 60 pounds of rice for me from my Amazon wish list. So, I currently am living in a house with 90 pounds of dried rice. So, I know what I'm going to be eating with every single meal for months. Hey, I appreciate it. All right, here we go. This is Randy Galuza, and he's telling us how because humans design things, and because animals are cool, therefore God designed animals. Which, not the greatest argument, I'm going to be honest with you, but we'll see where he goes with it.
Yes, of course it does. It was engineered. But then when you look at a creature, does it have the same characteristics? Do you have multiple moving parts? Do you have precise timing? Some of you have more than others. But anyway, you have all of these things. You have these incredible characteristics.
I mean, yeah, it's true that organisms have moving things. The problem is that something moves is not evidence on its own that it's designed. You have to go further than that, right? So the reason that we say that, say, a car engine is designed is ultimately the same reason that we say things like a stone axe head from like 2 million years ago was designed. It's because we know how you get those things, and it's through, obviously, someone designing them. Like, we can watch cars be designed and built. We currently know how to get stone axe heads. People still do it. People can still flint knap actual rock into stone axes. But we don't see that for living organisms. Every time we watch living organisms come into being, they come into being from other living organisms, and there doesn't seem to be any intentional design involved outside of, weird circumstances in like a genetics lab. I guess that might count. But then again, it's still humans doing the designing. You want to say that living things were designed, you're going to have to find examples where living things come into being as a result of design, as well as showing why other options, like the way that organisms normally just reproduce in the world, don't work. Inkboy says, for some reason my membership was gone. That was really AIG. That was a really AIG move there for Mr. U2. It's possible that it was something as simple as like the payment bounced or something. And Shipfish, who's been a member for 11 months at the Tetrapod level, says, Tunicate Mob. Oh, right. Did I do anyone who super chats anything to the effect that AIG is a bag of dicks gets a drink? I think I forgot to say that. It's an important drink trigger, because they really are bags of dicks. In fact, they copyright claimed 2 live streams on Chesh's channel that was clearly very much fair use. So, yeah.
When you look at even down at the molecular level, you see incredible microscopic robots. You see machines that can manipulate DNA in all these other kinds of ways. You see intracellular elevators. You see mobile brace builders. You see incredible ways to construct things. And we actually have a man in our audience here today, Mr. Dave Coppage, who writes for a web page called Evolution News and Views, who...
Okay, I'm taking a drink. We're going to talk about, 1, that cells are cool, and 2, we're going to talk about evolution news. So here's a drink. Okay, so cells are cool. The problem is that in order to actually argue that all of this stuff, which I'll grant you probably could not form in terms of like an abiogenesis event, is a problem, you either have to do one of 2 things. 1, you have to go ahead and show why it couldn't evolve, which I have not found anyone actually doing that. Best attempt that I've seen was irreducible complexity, but irreducible complexity has been falsified for decades now. We know it's not a barrier to evolution because irreducibly complex things evolve. I mean, it's not a problem. So there's no amount of complexity or interrelation of parts or anything like that that is per se a problem. The other option, though, is that he's saying that this is a problem because it probably didn't occur or couldn't occur spontaneously in the first living organisms, like I said, in an abiogenesis event. Which, no, it couldn't, probably. But, abiogenesis probably didn't result in organisms that were nearly as well-functioning or complex as modern cells. Probably went with what you might call a minimum viable product in the business world, right? This is the absolute bare minimum that counts as life. Now that we have life, it starts to evolve and you can be off to the races, geologically speaking, at least. So, yeah. Also, evolution news. It's basically just a propaganda output piece for the Discovery Institute, which is probably the biggest intelligent design organization. They call themselves intelligent design, basically as a way to pretend that they're not creationists, even though many of them are even young Earth creationists, although some of them are also older creationists. And that was done in an attempt to get intelligent design, which again is just rebranded creationism, into schools by just removing any reference to God explicitly. And yeah, that did not hold up in court. So evolution news, despite what the name might actually sound like, is not a place where you can go to learn news about evolution. It's where you go to hear Discovery Institute hacks lie to you about scientific papers. So, yeah. Let's hit play.
My opinion is the top writer about these design features. So thank you very much.
That stuttering is in the original. I don't know what's going on there.
Dave, where you are over there, I greatly appreciate it. You do a phenomenal job, of bringing this out in your articles, one right after the other. And these are telling us not only how they operate, but they're telling us about origin. We've seen tiny molecular motors.
Yeah, okay, so again, we're basically just back to Michael Behe's flagellar motor argument, right? So Michael Behe basically is the person who came up with irreducible complexity, which seems to be what Galuza here is like riffing off of in terms of his ideas. There are multiple papers proposing very, very viable options for the evolution of the flagellar motor and various other biological motors. Right? We can see homologous protein structures in other parts of bacterial genomes. This is just irreducible complexity, which, like I said, has been falsified for decades. Now, there is an unfalsifiable version of it that hasn't been falsified because it's unfalsifiable. But you know what happens when your idea is completely unfalsifiable? Not science. Technically, that doesn't make it wrong, but it's not involved in the discussion about science. And yeah, as Vishanti says, this ultimately comes down to things wiggle good, therefore God. Yeah, basically.
Operate by the same engineering principles of human things. And not only this, we see totally microscopic gears that connect the back legs of a plant hopper. And they operate just like human gears. Now, when you see gears, should you be thinking there was a gear maker?
No. Well, I guess, like, if you mean the parents of the insect, then yeah. I'm gonna take a drink. Unless you can show that that insect couldn't evolve bumps on its legs, it's not a problem. This is not a very good argument, because nothing that he's showing us is like, well, this couldn't have evolved. It's literally just, this thing is neat, and is similar to a thing human has made. Therefore, this thing couldn't have evolved. Neat and similar to something else. Not an argument against evolution. My Unfinished Journey says AIG are an ominous omnibus of original organs. Yeah, we'll take a drink for that. That's pretty good. I like it. And then Carrie Bronson for $5 says ICR are a can of cocktail weenies next to the jumbo package of hot dogs that is AIG. Okay, we'll take a drink for that too. Okay. Let's continue on. Also, I think I need a bigger straw, right? Because I crush this ice like at home, so it's not like the super homogeneous ice that you would get if you had like professional make this pina colada. So like there are a few pieces in here that are a little bit too big to fit through the straw. Oh well, that'll happen.
Of course you should. We see all of these things. So major teaching point number 2 is this, the engineered workmanship. It is the engineered workmanship, not just their mathematical complexity, that corresponds to the engineered workmanship that we see in man-made things.
That's a lot of begging the question.
The Lord wants us to see the correspondence.
Yeah, Dr. D and Wing says, but Dapper, look at the trees. And yeah, I mean, it's basically a slightly more sophisticated version of that, right? Trees exist, therefore God doesn't really work, right? Because chances are, if someone is not believing in God, right? Someone doesn't believe in God, whether or not they disbelieve in God, that aside. So there's a person who does not believe that at least one God exists. Most such people have encountered trees before. That wasn't a problem before. Similarly, most people have encountered animals and whatever bugs and bacteria and things like that before. Just pointing out that they exist and are neat is not going to be news to your average non-theist.
That this is the primary revelation that is undeniable about Christ's power, genius, and wisdom. That is really undeniable. This is really important. Change your witness. Not just complex, but corresponding features doing corresponding things just far better. That's what we want to point out.
Okay, so it's not just complex, because the thing is, with Randy, it's always kind of difficult to figure out exactly what he's trying to go for. So maybe I was a little wrong in thinking he's just trying to redo irreducible complexity. It seems like the correspondence between things is his big thing, but ultimately corresponding between two things that together perform some function for an organism is kind of like the most basic thing that organisms do. And so I don't know how he could argue that because organisms do this, they have parts that connect to other parts. Therefore, that couldn't either arise through abiogenesis or evolve. Because, I mean, if he wants to go with, like, God created the first life so we don't have to worry about abiogenesis, then it evolved. Given that I don't currently know of any well-accepted theory of abiogenesis, I'm going to say, well, I mean, sure, you can fit a God into that gap if you want to, for now. But, we know very well how evolution works. Like, that's not really at issue. So I would be okay with him taking that position. But he's not. So the only thing I can think of is that he's saying that things can't evolve to interact with other things. But I know for a fact that he doesn't believe in species fixity. He does think that organisms evolve in some way. How would they be doing that if not to interact with their environment? Right? What would it mean for organisms to speciate and not to be able to interact with things that they weren't interacting with before, right? Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's probably in line with AIG in thinking that Elephantidae is a kind, right? So that means that, you know, Paleoloxodon, Loxodon, Elephas, Mammut, all are actually coming from an original pair of elephants on the Ark. Only a pair, since pretty darn sure elephants are not clean animals. Although technically the Bible hasn't given you rules for clean yet, so who knows? But, so, does that mean that he doesn't think that woolly mammoths were interacting with snow? Or they couldn't have done that without the intervention of God? I don't know, it's not clear. Which again, is a big problem with Randy Galuza, because he's not a biologist, by the way. He's an engineer, which is why he harps on about engineering.
Oh, number 3. Teaching point number 3.
Okay, here we go.
Origin of creatures. Design-based explanations are theistic explanations.
No, I'm going to take a drink. So here's the thing, right? If you want to say Earth life, yeah, life on Earth was designed, a god would be an option, but it wouldn't be the only option. What if it was aliens? What if it was rebellious demons that walked about and screwed up God's perfect pristine, clean, lifeless world and got all this gross, dirty life on it. Like, that's an option. I don't think it's a very likely option, but it's there. Also, Jared Tilford for $1.99 says, AIG are a zany ziploc of zealous zucchini. Oh, man. You guys are great. Thank you. All right, we'll take the drink for that. Now, I will say that if it were demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt scientifically that life had to have been designed by something, it would incline me towards taking that theistically. But that's just me. And me being so inclined doesn't mean that you have to be so inclined.
Design-based explanations are theistic explanations. So if we're going to provide a better explanation, an engineering one, as Paul Nelson here said, I wish I would have had this quote myself, we need to do biology as if Darwin had not been born.
Yeah, we do. Darwin doesn't matter. I don't know why it is that when it comes to biology, everyone is always, well, creationists are always talking about Darwin. He does not matter to current biology. He is an important figure in the history of biology, but his ideas are not followed because of some kind of hero worship for Darwin. Darwin got some important things right before other people did. That's it.
Had not been born. And we can do that. In fact, now as we look in the best scientific papers, we are seeing adaptation characterized. Remember I said words are important and characterizations are important. We are seeing adaptation being characterized with these words. And I took these words right from the scientific literature. Regulated, rapid, repeatable, and with targeted responses. Now, when you're hearing those characterizations, you're hearing words of what? Engineering.
No, they're just describing things. Things can be regulated without being engineered. So, for instance, how light leaves the sun is regulated by things like convection currents in the sun transferring heat from the core. If those, say, layers were gone, and you somehow maintain pressure in the core, then the light emitting there would be different. Things like internal radioactive decay, and as well as just the latent heat of the formation of the Earth, helps regulate things like plate tectonics, which helps keep the rock cycle going, which is an important part of life. But that doesn't mean that the Earth had to be engineered. It's a ball of mostly iron and silicon. Rapid, I mean, hurricanes are rapid. What are we talking about? Rapid. What does that mean? I'm taking a drink for rapid. Is an engineering term? Because no, it's not. It just means fast. Repeatable, I mean, okay, so organisms can do the same thing more than once, I guess? Sure. Targeted responses. Yeah. If organisms didn't have targeted responses for various stimuli, then they would probably go extinct.
Design. All of those things. And we can begin to put together a model to explain biological adaptation that says what organisms seem to be doing is organisms have this incredible ability to be able to track environmental changes. And when the environment changes, here's the key words, folks.
Okay, here we go.
They change themselves purposefully to match their environment.
How are you determining that it's purposeful? Trudy Stubbs says howdy, and trans writes enclosed with, I think, star emojis? Are those stars? Twinkly bits? And also Godzilla. Trudy can't find the Godzilla button. Trudy, are you a member? If you're not a member, that might be why you can't find the Godzilla button. But we'll drink for it anyway, because you know what? Even if there isn't a Godzilla, might as well still drink for the trans rights. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, how are you telling that this is purposeful? What else we have here? How creatures stay on track is by numerous innate systems which enable self-adjustments. I mean, I'm not really going to disagree with that. That is true. Characteristics of response should equal characteristics of human design systems. Well, first, why should they do that? And second, even if they did, then what? Also, Space Dragon, who's been a member for 4 months and is at the M Neo level, says, maybe the demons that mucked up Earth with life got punished into being humans. Godzilla, also pelagic tunicate. Pelagic tunicate. Take a drink for it, though, because you put in Godzilla. But we're not drinking for pelagic tunicates. Those things are horrifying and disgusting.
That's what you need to change. They change themselves. They change themselves. They do what? Change themselves. And
I mean, okay, but what we're talking about here is things like your dog sheds more of its hair in the summer. Like, okay, that kind of intra-organismal change to adapt to, you know, like it's hotter now, or it's drier, or it's wetter, or it's colder. Those are things that are happening to an organism that are not going to be the result of it actually changing the sequence of its genome. But we know that different species of organisms require different genetics, right? Like, we know for a fact that the wolf, the gray wolf, the coyote, the golden jackal, the African wild dog, the maned wolf in South America, goodness. All of these organisms have different genetics. That's not because they moved to a hot place and shed more of their fur. But he's trying to use this as a replacement for just evolution, basically, or for natural selection at least. But I do think that we're getting someone in here. So real quick, I'm going to put us on the intermission while I get a guest in. So please stand with me. It'll hopefully only take a few minutes. And we are back. Oh, sorry. Oh, hello?
Hey.
Hey, guys, Vishanti came in. So
What's up?
We're saved from having to listen to me ramble continuously for the entire night.
I mean, I wasn't gonna leave you hanging there with Randy Galooza by yourself.
Oh, goodness,
That would
yeah.
just be cruel.
He is kind of the worst. Yeah. Like, as I'm sure you saw right before this, he's trying to say that basically, like, your dog shedding its hair more in the summer is how you get speciation. Which is just like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I was listening to this on the bus on the way over and just shaking my head to myself, and I'm sure people thought I was a little bit off, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some more of Randy. I hear you have a cider.
I do. I have
Nice.
a cider, and I probably won't finish it.
Well, hey, that's fine. All right. Here we go. More Randy.
how they do it is through dozens of incredibly engineered mechanisms that enable them to do all of that. And we've put together a model called continuous environmental tracking, which explains how creatures have been able to do this right from the beginning of creation in a world that was always dynamic along the way. And it is a model that is completely different, very, very different from Darwinian selectionism.
You know what, Randy, that's true. We'll take a drink for you getting something right. It is very different from natural selection. Of course, there's a reason that
Darwinian
natural selection,
selectionism?
Yeah, Darwinian
This
selectionism.
is literally this is like C-design proponentsists.
Yeah, basically. It's, look, creationists in general have like sort of a loose relationship with prescriptive forms of English grammar and word choice.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, selectionism it's not a word, no. But one of the reasons why there is such a heavy emphasis on the selection model because it's this thing called well-supported, which is also why virtually no creationists agree with Randy Galuzza on this. Like, AIG believes in natural selection. CMI believes in natural selection. Heck, even Kent Hovind seems to believe in natural selection to some degree, at least.
Yeah, to a degree, he totally believes in it.
Yeah, like Jason Lyle. Jason Lyle, sorry. For some reason, in my brain, I always get Jason Lyle and Nathaniel Jeanson mixed up, which I don't know why. Like, I just don't understand why my brain can't separate those two, but yeah, I do mean Jason Lyle. He actually broke away from ICR. He used to be an employee at ICR, and he's made numerous critiques of this idea from Randy Galuzza from a creationist standpoint. So, just trying to hear a reconstructionist selectionist?
Yeah.
You're trying to see how selection is applicable to our lives today, thousands of years after it was first developed?
That's right.
Okay. It's good to know. Very interesting.
And there are
Also,
two distinct...
this is not relevant to anything that Randy Galuzza is saying, but, I just wanted to let the chat know that I currently have a tortilla blanket.
Nice.
And it is keeping me toasty warm on this disgustingly rainy day. I am tired of rain.
Yeah, rain is kind of the worst. There's a reason I live in a desert.
I'm okay with rain in moderation, but Southern California, especially over the last 2 or 3 months, has been nothing but just deluge. I don't like it.
Was the street flooded?
Yes, the streets flood quite often here, just because the ground isn't usually dry most of the time. So when it rains really heavily, the ground gets saturated very quickly. Mm-hmm. And the streets in my neighborhood were flooded up to the sidewalk. So had to swim to work today. But I have galoshes.
Very, very handy.
Splash.
Savage Cobra.
The only time in my entire life that I've ever owned galoshes or rain boots is when I moved to Southern California. What the heck? Why?
I don't know. Savage Cobra Kinda Officials for $2 says Devolution Selectionists. Nice. Alright, let's get in some more Randy in here.
Distinguishing characteristics of this model, and they are very different to your thinking. So they're very important. Number one, CET is organism focused. Organism focused. It's not focused on the environment, it's focused on the organism, and it's going to be engineering based.
What does that mean? Does Randy think that natural selection doesn't care about the organism that's undergoing the process? Like, natural selection, what's being selected? The organisms.
Stuff and things.
Yeah, I'm taking a drink for this. Is apparently some brand new approach that Randy has where he's going to do biology while focusing on organisms, because apparently no one's done that before. Yeah. Big news.
Organisms, biology, groundbreaking.
Yeah, otherwise those are totally unrelated fields. Like, why would you care about organisms when you're doing biology? Pfft.
Now, as you look up here at me, there's a computer right in front of me.
So Suava says, rain in the Arizona desert has made it so green. Actually, yes, it is actually quite green here, and that is because we did have our own experience with some significant rainfall. It is quite nice, actually. There's a lot of flowers out right now, which I really like. Of course, my allergies
am
don't
not
like
okay with it. I was gonna say the flowers are nice to look at when I am inside and not affected by their, I was gonna say birds and bees, but then I realized that was kind of redundant. So
yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I still had the meme handy.
You're welcome.
Here we go.
Somebody engineered this computer. Anything that this computer will ever be able to do was built into the computer right at the beginning.
That's dumb. Okay, we're going to take a drink, then we're going to talk about Turing completeness. Okay, so Turing completeness is a term in computing, and we're not going to get too far into the weeds about it, right? But basically, a machine is Turing complete if it can do anything that another Turing complete machine can do. Now, there's actually an actual, like, list of things that make a machine Turing complete. We're not going to get into that whole thing, right? Arachamian for $20 says... okay, sorry. I got it. The seriosity with which creationites employify fictitious word
form.
I gotta start over. Hold on.
Curiousness.
I can't with this one.
I want to try it. I want to try this.
Okay.
The seriosity with which creationites employify fictitious word form sparks curiousness.
That's amazing. It was good, so good I couldn't actually read all of it. I'm still laughing about it. Oh, thank you very much, Arachami. I really appreciate that one. You know what? It's good enough. I'm just going to take a drink for it. That's just the
Beautiful.
unofficial. I'm just taking a drink.
So Suave is now a member. Welcome to the tetrapod level. Spamming with pelagic tunicates.
No, spam it with tetrapods. Is what they're for.
Yeah.
Never spam pelagic tunicates. Ah, goodness.
Even if it could change itself, you had to build the ability to change itself right into the computer.
Oh, right. I forgot we were talking about that. Okay, so if a machine is Turing complete, it can run pretty much any program that you can think of. Which means you can do things that it wasn't designed to do. For instance, you know Conway's Game of Life? You might have seen it on just a little computer, maybe a while back, since it's a pretty old program. Basically just has a grid of cells. The cells are either alive or dead. And every clock tick, cells will change based on how many neighbors they have. So if they have just the right number of neighbors, a cell will become alive. If it has too many or too few neighbors, it'll become dead. Well, that game is actually Turing complete. You can build an entire computer inside Conway's Game of Life. In fact, you could, hypothetically, make a giant physical board that all uses these cell rules and have people actively go and physically update the board every so often as a clock tick, and then have that run a computing program. Now, this would be like the world's slowest imaginable computer. I don't recommend you doing it. But that's the thing. Conway's Game of Life wasn't even known to be Turing complete when it was made. It just happened to be. And people have figured out how to build computers in Conway's Game of Life that actually do work. Oh, and there's Godzilla. We take a drink for Godzilla. Also, I think I zoomed in accidentally. Dr. DM Wing for $10 says, here's $10 that attests that turtles are the best tetrapods. I mean, I'm not gonna, disagree that turtles are at least among the best tetrapods. If not the actual best. They might be.
Pretty great.
They are pretty great. Turtles are pretty cool.
I like turtles.
Mm-hmm. Also, genetic tests have shown that they're probably more closely related to archosaurs than to lepidosaurs. They're on my side of the reptile family fruit tree. Yeah. They're hanging out with me and the birds and the crocodiles.
Neat.
Oh, yeah, those lizards and snakes and tuataras and amphisbaenians can go do whatever they want over somewhere else. Thank you very much. I say that as someone who owns a pet lizard, by the way. Oh well, she's one of the cool ones. Here we go.
So if this computer can change in different environments, you have to look in the computer. You have to look in here to see how it's happening, not out there.
Vishanti, okay, you're a human, so, you're part of the species
Wait,
that makes...
am I?
I think so.
Thought it was three gods in a trench coat.
Well, okay, but I've never actually seen
Okay,
you
I'm
wearing a
in
trench coat.
human form.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you're in human form. So what I'm wondering is, because these computers are, mostly human things, do they reproduce on their own? Do they have a genetic code that they can mutate and create slightly new variations on Dell desk or laptops that then grow up to be a new generation of Dell laptop with slightly different configurations? Is that a thing that happens?
What?
You don't think so?
I mean, wait. Do humans reproduce
No.
Dell laptops?
No, do Dell laptops reproduce each other? Like, can you
No,
like...
they don't. They're not alive.
Interesting. So why are we using it as an analogy for living things? Is it to be intentionally misleading? Is it just because Randy's super dumb?
The engineer is this engineer in particular is the reason that saying exists. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Ah, yes. Everything must be engineered because I'm an engineer. Got it. If not everything is part of what I know about, then it must be fake.
Darwin looks out there. Darwin looks out. We need to get away.
Who cares?
Not only who cares, but also I don't see what difference he's actually trying to draw. Darwin...
Science didn't stop with Darwin.
No, it did not.
Away from that, look in. Look in. You want to know about the computer? You better study the computer. And start.
Yeah, biologists study organisms. What is happening right now? I'm taking another drink. This is insane.
Wasn't he supposed to be doing stuff about, like, organisms with biology, and now he's talking about not biology?
Oh, he's always talking about not biology. Because if he were to actually talk about biology, then he would have to talk about something he doesn't know anything about, and he would sound dumb.
Oh, well, we can't have that.
Start looking inside the computer. So you want to know about creatures, start looking to the creatures.
Trailmix.
We need to move the
Trailmix
whole
says,
explanation.
Explain Plankton and Karen. Well played. Well played.
Meldeborn, who's been a member for 6 months, says, I get the impression that if young Earth creationists at ICR didn't have arguments which were misleading, then they wouldn't have arguments at all. Thanks for the 6 months of insight, Dapper and friends. I agree with you, generally speaking. And also, you're welcome. You know what? It's been a great last 6 months overall. There have been ups and downs, but overall, it's been a pretty good last 6 months.
Of their biological functions into the realm of engineering, where not only are man-made things accurately explained by engineering principles, but so are God-made things.
You know, if he draws enough Venn diagrams, he'll have to be right.
Goodness. This is like a Matryoshka doll of Venn diagrams.
It is, yeah. Everything's engineering. Especially adaptation, which is part of metabolism and part of growth and reproduction. We said this last time. What do these overlapping areas represent? Does he know how Venn diagrams work?
It's just pretty colors.
Yeah, okay.
And that we should expect
all 4 of those, growth, reproduction, adaptation, and metabolism, overlapping each other. And then he drew a big circle around all of them, and I'm like, bro, why'd you have them all overlap?
Yeah.
You can move the circles to where they all meet in the center. You don't have to draw another one around it. Just make them meet in the center. Oh, goodness, this is making my brain hurt.
Yeah, he has some of the worst Venn diagrams. And, yeah.
Yikes.
corresponding elements. You know what that will do? That tells us if we know how something is already man-made and we're trying to examine something that is God-made and it's a mystery to us, we can look at the man-made thing and we can say, whoa, I expect to find these things in the God-made thing. That's powerful. And you can start looking for them.
Therefore, God makes things. But I don't know how to make trees, therefore God makes trees.
Yeah, it is an odd argument. That it seems like no matter what, because he likes things that are designed, it doesn't matter if you understand it, if you don't, it's all just design, right?
God did it.
Look, I don't understand how this cool thing happens, therefore it must be God. Oh, I understand well how this cool thing happens. Must be
therefore
God.
God.
Like,
yeah.
That's just always you getting to the same conclusion.
You know, what if he was grown-up Ralph Wiggum? Because he's giving me grown-up Ralph Wiggum vibes.
You know, I wonder if his cat's breath smells like cat food.
That's my favorite Ralph line.
You know what, guys?
My cat's breath smells like cat food.
We definitely should not let Randy Galooza in the deep end of the sand of the sandbox. Don't let him in the deep end. Average Cobra Kinda Official, who's been a member for 4 months and is at the amnio level, thank you very much, says 68%, I can read, of his audience were treated for acute PowerPoint poisoning following this lecture. Seriously. Okay, here we go.
Them, and you can do tests for them. It can help you better with your research. Not only can you just, you don't just have to look at God.
Randy, assuming the conclusion in begging the question does not in fact help you with your research. In fact, I would go so far as to say that would actually impede your research.
Yeah, generally it would, yeah. You start with a conclusion, you're going to reach that conclusion no matter what. And
you're going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm. Just like if you pizza when you should have French fried.
Mm-hmm.
Or other way around, really.
Yep.
Made things and steal God's designs without giving him credit and put it into production, you can go the other way. You can look at a man-made thing and you can expect to find something in a God-made thing. That's really, really important.
Okay, Randy, go find me the internal combustion animal. Uses pistons and cylinders and all that to do the full internal combustion. Good luck.
Internal combustion animal.
I mean, he said it. He said if you find a man-made thing, you should be able to find a God-made thing that matches that. So I want the internal combustion animal. Or the jet bird.
In before Kent Hovind says bombardier beetle.
Goodness.
Well, it combines these two chemicals and shoots it out its behind, and that's like fire. Therefore, fire-breathing dragons, which are dinosaurs, could exist.
Oh, man. Have you seen the actual Ken Ham authored children's book that includes a fire-breathing Parasaurolophus?
What?
Not kidding. He has the idea that the crest that's connected to the nasal passage was used to store chemicals for combustion so it could breathe fire out of its nose.
Oh no.
Yes.
I don't like any of this.
It's amazing. I think Erica actually read it on her channel a while back. This is one of her very early videos. Oh yeah, it's great. It also has one of the most cursed pictures I've ever seen of this gigantic Deinonychus eating leaves off of a palm tree, but it has the wrong number of toes, and both feet are left feet.
I think I saw this.
It's like the most cursed dinosaur I've ever seen.
Wait, is that more cursed than the dinosaur that has like 1.5 arms but 3 legs and they're all tree roots?
Yeah, the AI one. Yeah, actually it is. Because at least that one has the excuse of an AI made it, whereas this one, someone drew 2 left feet on this dinosaur.
Oh, no.
A person did that. It wasn't just some dumb computer.
Yikes.
Too Young to Feel This Old for $5 says, Alaric wanted me to tell Dapper that he knows that Ceratosaurus has horns and big sharp teeth and a big tail. Then he stomped off roaring. That's adorable. Oh, well, thanks, Alaric. That's a really good thing to know. And it is all true. Ceratosaurus does have horns, big sharp teeth, and a big tail.
I think John Rapp has really hit on something here. He says, nobody has ever seen a god create a non-god.
Good point.
Oh. This requires further investigation.
Since it's internalistic, we have several important points.
Internalistic, I'm pretty sure, is also not a word.
Goodness.
Never heard that word before. We should have a separate counter for how many made-up words.
How many made-up words?
Oh my goodness. What are we on, 3 now?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna keep track of these. What was this last one?
So earlier it was selectionism, something
Selectionism?
Yeah.
And then there was goodness. You can rewind it like 3 seconds and I'll internalistic. It's on the screen. Just kidding.
Okay.
I can read.
There's at least 2. I thought there was another one, but maybe there wasn't. If anyone does remember a third one, let us know. Make sure you tag me and also tag Vishanti. That way,
this is just
Our
amazing.
eyes. Yeah, Grace Brunk. It says ICR aren't the sharpest balls in the ball pit. All right, here we go. Internalistic.
All operation arises from identifiable control systems within the entity. That means if you want to know how something works, we as scientists should start looking for the control systems that regulate it.
So, like, brains and hormones? Like, okay. I feel like scientists have already found those, but what do I know?
Whole organism.
Ooh, ICR is the TumblrCon ball pit. Ouch. That's a deep cut to some ancient,
Yes, it is.
ancient internet lore right there. My goodness.
I am an old.
Yes. Oh man, I remember that ball pit. In case you guys
That was a
remember when they canceled part of the whole thing, but they told everyone they could have like an extra 5
get
minutes
an
in the ball
extra
pit.
yeah, almost 5 minutes in the ball pit. That's right.
And
the ball pit was like the size of a tiny kiddie pool.
It just plopped
Only
in the
the
middle of
best.
this big conference room.
Yes.
I did not think I was going to be remembering TumblrCon tonight. Guys, if you ever want a good laugh, go look up TumblrCon. It was basically like the Fire Fest before the Fire Fest. It was a disaster.
Yeah, it was the internet's version of the Fire Fest. Except, unlike the Fire Festival, it actually happened just
Fair.
real poorly.
Yeah, it wasn't technically a scam.
Not just DNA. It's the whole organism which is important, and that is what is the directing program for adaptation. Both internal form and the adaptable changes are governed by innate systems. You are not...
What does that mean, Randy? What does that mean? This is one of the things
It sounds... This is generated by one of those Deepak Chopra type memes.
Oh,
He just threw a bunch of words in and hit, like, generate, and that's where you get both internal form and adaptability are governed by innate systems. That's a nothing burger.
There's the Deepak Chopra meme, or was it tweet generator, is a real thing. And generally speaking, it is impossible to tell if something is actually an actual quote from Deepak Chopra or just random nonsense thrown together by this generator. Which I just got. Independence embraces reckless happiness. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you know that it doesn't? Experiential truth fears a symphony of force fields. That took a weird turn right at the end there.
Yeah, it did.
Goop23 for $5 says, I never heard of the word internalistic before I came to Springfield. I don't know why, it's a perfectly cromulent word.
It is.
Oh, man. All right.
Nice use of the word cromulent there.
Let's embiggen our brains here.
Not shaped like modeling clay by your environment. You adjust yourself. And
I don't know of any...
Is he high?
I hope so. That would explain some of this. Like, he's just saying, hey, you know these things that everyone already knows about? I guess that means evolution isn't true. Like, no. No, I don't think so. And he's not going to... Okay, this is a prediction. He's not going to go into any detail about what mechanisms he's talking about and how they're not accounted for in science.
And then adaptability appears to be the engineered control of the organism-environment relationship by the organism.
This whole thing is just question-begging the talk.
I was gonna say, these aren't arguments.
No.
These are fallacies.
Mm-hmm.
Through appropriate self-adjustments. Does this make sense?
No, Randy, it
No,
doesn't make any sense.
it does not.
I'm taking another drink because I have to. I can't with this. Does
Oh
this
my
make sense?
goodness.
No!
No, it does not. It is the opposite of sense.
Seriously. Also, it's less prominent in this one, but Randy has a tendency to talk to his audience like they're a room full of toddlers. And also, I noticed that ICR, in their recent Young Earth Evolutionist articles, seems to really assume that all of their followers are just gigantic morons. I think that no one thinks less of the intelligence of the average church-going Young Earth creationist than the professional Young Earth creationists. I don't think they're that stupid, but they seem to. It's a little baffling. So, here we go.
You relate to your environment, but how you do it, you control it. You're not controlled by...
Can I manifest this? Am I controlling my environment with the power of thought?
Maybe you might, or if you think hard enough, maybe you can get the rain to stop.
Because he says right here that adaptability appears to be like, okay, if I adjust stuff, myself, that's me, engineering control, okay, self-adjustment, I am controlling the me-environment relationship. So...
But I would think that you can only control the you part, not the environment part.
Hashtag manifesting.
Maybe
Seriously.
This is actually just like that whole like whatever you put out into the universe, you're gonna get back, but creationist style instead of like
it's
new age
literally the law
style.
of attraction.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Randy's going for. He's going for the law of attraction, but like evangelical Christian style instead of like new age soccer mom style.
Oh.
Because I always associate the law of attraction with like soccer moms. I don't know if that's fair, but it's what I always
it's absolutely crystal chakra woo.
Yeah, it's always like I always associate that with someone whose name is like Karen or Vanessa or something, and she has like 3.5 kids, and they all go to soccer camp. And then she has the live, laugh, love words somewhere in her house. And
she named her kid Braille with way too many vowels and AIGHs.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of silent letters in there for funsies.
Yeah.
Okay, well now that I know we have the exact same stereotype in mind for the new age woo crystal people. Savage Cobra, kinda official, for $2 says, "Grow a wing, Randy." Yes, guys, send some wings over to Randy so he can try to evolve.
You control yourself. That's how it works. Now this is really, really different. So this is important. Now this can't be, the time is out already because I started 10 minutes late. So I know I started.
Just change your relationship with the environment, Randy, so that you're not late anymore. Just do that.
I mean, you can control your relationship with the environment. You just have to do the appropriate self-adjustments.
Yeah, just look deep
I
inside
recommend talking faster.
Started 10 minutes late. You give me 10 more minutes on that.
No.
And that's
no
not
more
nothing
minutes
against the guy who was before
given.
me. All right. Or the guys who were before me. I saw that.
I like the spider. Nice spider. But we're going to take a quick break so I can get
Las
myself...
arañas.
But they're so cool. I know, you don't like spiders. It's one of the very strange and one of the few objectionable things that I find about you. Is that
Listen, I have made this very clear. I don't mind spiders, and I recognize and respect their position in the food chain. I just don't want to see them within my field of vision. That is all I ask. I appreciate that they eat ants and flies and other various unsavories, and I appreciate that, and I'm very grateful. They just need to do it not within my field of vision. That is the smallest ask, I think.
They eat mosquitoes, the one animal that kills more humans than any other animal.
And I am glad. Can they just not do that within my field of vision? That is all I ask. Just the one thing.
They don't control your relationship with the environment, Ashanti, in which they are a part. Only you can do that.
Listen, they have 6 more eyes. Sorry, the cider's hitting. They have 6 more eyes than I do. They can see where I am and not go there.
They really have a hard time with that, actually, because their vision is very focused on nearby things that are rapidly moving.
I mean, they don't have to see me in 4K. They just need to see an amorphous blob and realize that is a very large thing. I should avoid it.
Well, we're going to read a couple super chats, and then we're going to take a quick break. And then I'm going to toss a whole box full of spiders over at Vishanti.
I will literally turn on a flamethrower.
All right, Trail Mix, who's been a member for 3 months and is at the Amniote level, sends a membership chat that says wings with a Mothra emoji, which means we take a drink for Mothra. Of course we do. Mothra is amazing.
I love Mothra.
Next, we have for $5 from Dr. DM-Wing, what does this button do? It sends me a little bit of money and highlights your chat, and it's great. I appreciate it. All right, guys, we're going to be right back. I'm going to fill up this pina colada with fresh pina. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? That's how it works now. All right, we'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. Vishanti was back as I started to do the show, but then she had to be right back again, so she's gonna be right back. But I have fresh, ice-cold pina colada, so I'm good to go. Thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with us. Here we go.
Clock, I watched it. Number 2, CET is engineering-based. It's an engineering-based explanation for adaptations.
Yes, because you're an engineer, so of course it is. The Dapper Dinosaur of Vishanti Flamethrower versus Box of Spider Wars continue.
Look, it's just another front of the Pelagic Tunicate Wars.
Yeah, it's expanding out from there. Because for some unconscionable reason, my co-host here is apparently pro-Pelagic Tunicate. You can believe it?
I'm just using the tools you gave us.
Which means we're looking for corresponding elements. And we're looking for 3 really important corresponding elements: sensors, innate logic, and output responses.
So behavior. That just sounds like behavior. Does that not just sound like behavior? Animals do things.
Logic.
Yeah, I don't know what innate means.
Do cells have innate logic?
I mean, they do have like chemical receptors that then cause things to happen in the cell according to predictable like chemical pathways.
Do
Like,
Do we
kind
have
of?
a fungus Aristotle?
No, I don't believe so.
Hmm.
Kind of do in D&D, like the myconids, they're fungal. They're smart. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Yeah, it's you might be able to say it's logic in a similar way that to say like there's machine logic where like your computer has rules that when you input a thing will be output. Cells do that, but I'm not sure you'd call it innate logic.
Ernie Matthews, I have a story for you. My younger brother, way back when he got out of high school, he joined the army because that's what you did around, circa 2004 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him being on leave, and we were sitting in the dining room. Long story short, he saw a large spider, and it had lots of teeny tiny spider babies on it. My brother, who had seen active combat and probably unalived more than one person, screamed at the top of his lungs, grabbed hairspray, a lighter, and literally turned it into a flamethrower.
Nice. Did it kill the spider?
It killed most of the spiders, but not all of them. And he didn't like that. And
yeah, that's
neither did I.
The danger with killing a spider that's carrying baby spiders, that they're going to scatter. Good luck catching them all.
And they did.
Yeah. Also, Christopher, Canadian Atheist, who's been a member for 3 months and is at the annual level, says AIG is a bag of desperate independent Canadian knife sharpeners.
Oh, good.
I think I know what you're going for. We'll take a drink. This pina colada might be too thick. I left it in the freezer.
Kind of just suck it through the straw, and it makes the straw hit the back of your throat like a missile.
Yeah, basically. I mean, dinosaurs are already really bad at straws anyway. So,
I was gonna say, how are you drinking through a straw? You don't have lips.
I have my prosthetic lips attached. Don't worry about it.
Prosthetic lips. I'm imagining the wax lips that you can get when you were a kid.
Yes. Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who's been a member for 13 months, says there are only 2 things Dapper hates: intolerance of other animals' intrinsic value and pelagic tunicans. And then that's followed up with all of the emojis, including the new strawman emoji.
Good.
So we'll take a drink.
And no, it didn't burn the house down, but it did make the porch very hot.
Zach Brannigan, who's been a member for 3 months at the annual level, says, I wonder, did YouTube think to censor Irish? And then I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Irish, because I know I will fail. But I'm pretty sure I know what it's supposed to mean, and we'll take a drink for it.
Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
Yeah.
I can't speak Gaelic. Either of them.
Yeah, I looked into learning some Irish at one point. And then I was like, nah. I don't have to do this. And then I stopped. Sorry, Ireland.
That was me with Swahili.
Oh.
I had a teacher who was who spoke Swahili. He wasn't from Kenya. Where was he from? Tanzania. And I thought, maybe it would be cool to learn just very rudimentary Swahili. So I went to the library at the university and I picked up a book on Swahili. And I saw how many verb tenses there were, and I just closed that book and put it right back on the shelf.
It wasn't the 16 genders that did it for you? It was the verbs, huh?
It was the verbs. There are a few nouns that I know, and I can say hello both to a man and a woman, and that's about it.
There you go. All right, here we go.
That car on the left side of the screen, it can track. It could drive from New York City all the way to San Francisco with enough fuel. It could go around.
That's just cars. Is he saying by itself without a driver? That's just cars. My car has driven from Boston to Seattle more than once. I was in it, driving it, but
Was it driven by a guinea pig?
No, it was driven by a me.
Is that why he has these up here? I mean, what's the correlation here?
I don't know. I know what this paper is. It's about guinea pigs. Was it? They expressed either turned off or expressed some gene that they weren't doing before in their testes as a result of being in a artificially warmed environment, and that was been looked at like with wild guinea pigs. Like, are they doing the same thing? But if he gets there, we'll talk about it.
Storms and everything else. And you see there on the right that it says guinea pigs beat climate change by tweaking their own DNA. How do they do that? Let me just give you an example.
Twerking their own DNA.
How do you know they weren't?
I mean,
you got DNA, you might as well twerk it.
True.
Savage Cobra, kinda official, says for $2, AIG es un saco de gallos. It's true. Take a drink for that.
See, it's very bad.
Yeah, the straw's not going to work. Okay.
Everybody's worried about the climate change. They took these male guinea pigs. They wanted to know how they're going to respond to
here we go.
To climate change. And they put them in a cage with a heater on the bottom of the cage. Mm-hmm. Now, if you know anything about male guinea pig anatomy, what's sitting on the heater? That's right.
You can say it, Randy. You can just say the balls.
Excuse?
I mean, the balls are pretty close to the ground.
They're roasting them and that. And
chestnuts roasting on an open...
It wasn't that hot.
For the entire time it makes one cycle of sperm. So they put them in these hot environments for one cycle of sperm. So all the old sperm is gone, new sperm is made.
So what do you do for a living? Oh, I cook guinea pig sperm while it's still inside the guinea pig. Oh, okay. Cool. Bye. Just imagine trying to meet people when that's your job. You're the guy who cooks the guinea pig sperm inside the guinea pig. Also, Scriptic Mystic has joined the channel at the diapsid level. Thank you very much. That's extremely generous. Send not tunicats.
Tunicats.
Send tetrapods.
Tunicats.
See, no one's listening to you. They're okay, Trailmix listen to you. You obviously listen to you. They're mostly listening to me. Here we go.
Under these hot conditions. They mate these male guinea pigs with female guinea pigs that have not been in hot conditions. Okay. And then they check the males and the offspring. And in one generation, you can identify at least 18 genetic changes.
Yeah, I read the paper. It was epigenetic changes. I've read this paper. So, we're going to take a drink because this is not going to help Randy, and I think he knows it, and we're going to know it soon. So here's a drink for me having to explain what epigenetics is to this guy who runs an organization that thinks that they're going to overturn like all of science. Okay, so you have your genome, right? And that's just the actual sequence of the actual nucleotide base pairs in your DNA, right? All those C's and G's and A's and T's you learned about in high school. Great. Now, those are arranged into chromosomes, something you also probably heard about in high school. But what high school usually skips over is the fact that chromosomes aren't always the same, right? So if you take any two chromosomes, say you take like a human chromosome 4 or whatever, I'm just picking a number, you can have the same chromosome with the same genome, same genes, the same exact sequence of base pairs, but they can actually be different. So for instance, sometimes parts of a chromosome is methylated. So there's a little methyl functional group that will go in, and that actually binds up that part of the chromosome, making it virtually impossible for it to be transcribed. There are other things that can happen, but these are called epigenetics. Also, Too Young to Feel This Old for $2 says, hit that like button. I agree, do hit the like button. It is very important that all of you hit the like button. I'm seeing some, 27 people who have not? Very disappointing. Anyway, epigenome, right. So, when this happens, that can actually be passed on to offspring. The fact that this particular part of the chromosome is methylated or whatever else, right? That's called epigenetics. Epigenetics is a well-known phenomenon that is not, like, disregarded by biologists or evolutionary biologists or geneticists. This isn't news. It also is not sufficient to explain the biological diversity that Randy needs to explain. Also, Border Barbecue, who's been a member for 4 months and is at the amniote level, says, Tunicate Uprising.
Yes, my children!
Many, many pelagic tunicate emojis.
Let the hate flow through you.
Goodness. I hope next time you're in the ocean, a pelagic tunicate swims up to you. Gets all weird and slimy.
And does what?
Filter feeds.
Oh, okay, but I'm not like plankton, so
Still. It'll be weird
I'm not
and gross.
really concerned.
It'll be weird and gross.
I've had seaweed like get tangled on my foot before, and that was a little weird, but I mean, whatever.
All right, well, I still hope it happens, and you'll learn how terrible they are. You'll learn.
Okay, good luck when I don't swim in the ocean, because that's a thing I don't do.
Right.
If I can't see the bottom of the body of water, I don't get in.
Well, I mean, there's like beaches.
Yeah, but the beach is just like a prelude to ocean.
Okay, fine. Here we go.
Also, the Pacific is really effing cold.
Yeah, it is.
It is not like swimming in the Gulf of Mexico at all.
It's pretty nice around Hawaii. You ever been swimming at a beach in Hawaii? Very nice. I recommend it.
Nope. Yeah, the Gulf is very nice. It's like bathwater by comparison.
Yeah. Eric Hamian, who's been a member for 4 months at the tetrapod level, says, how about a pelagic tetrapod with a whale emoji? Pelagic tetrapods. Awesome. All right, here we go. Let's hit the play button.
All related to thermal regulation in the offspring of these males. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I agree. It is really cool.
You know how many had to struggle to survive?
Anything, though.
No, it doesn't. It's just a really cool example of epigenetics, which it is really cool. But, yeah, it...
See, all truckers correct. Beach is an ocean ramp. Correct.
I can't disagree.
0. Do you know how many died? 0. Darwin's whole struggle of survival...
Organisms didn't die, therefore evolution fake, though. Oh my goodness. Yeah, epigenetics is a thing. It can be passed down to the offspring. However, to get from the caviomorphs, which is the group to which guinea pigs belong, but also other things like chinchillas and agoutis and the capybara.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get them to diverge, you're going to have to do a lot more than just epigenetic changes, Randy. They have different genomes. How does that happen?
Capybaras.
Because it definitely...
So great.
They are
most unbothered.
Because I can guarantee you that capybaras and guinea pigs didn't evolve from a common ancestor through a whole pile of epigenetic changes. There were genetic changes. I promise.
Is completely wrong. These organisms were able to self-adjust even across generations in order to do these things. Is this interesting?
Yes.
No.
Well, it is interesting. I find it interesting. I just don't think it proves what he needs it to.
I'm not interested in how he's communicating it.
Correct. The paper itself is interesting. The actual experiment is interesting. Yeah. Once you get past the weirdness of... You're cooking the sperm, huh? Interesting.
Is this worth an extra few minutes? Okay.
No.
Next, the engineered adaptability is up front. The solutions precede the challenges, just like engineers build solutions for the space shuttle before they go...
Randy, no!
Goodness.
No, Randy.
But Shanti, remind me again.
Oh my goodness.
Do space shuttles get together and make baby space shuttles? Is that how it works?
No! They're not alive!
But, I mean, those solid rocket boosters on either side, they're alive, though, right?
I am taking out my math rocks because I have to roll against this psychic damage.
Okay.
Oh no, it's a 3.
Uh-oh.
You guys.
With full psychic damage.
Full psychic damage.
F. F's in the chat for Vishanti's psychic damage resistance.
Go into space. Before they go into space.
Okay. Psychic resistance.
Do you know who likes that? The astronauts. You know, they like that. And the Lord did that for the creatures as well. So let me give you, I'll go through these very quickly.
Oh, good.
Some quick examples of how this works. If organisms are continuously tracking environments, and if they have sensors and they have the same logic, we should expect some suitable responses to their...
I kind of wish he was saying sensor, like Spock does in the original series of Star Trek.
Yes, sensors.
What's on your sensor? Captain.
Yes.
There's Romulans decloaking on the sensors.
Environment. And if these creatures are detecting similar conditions and they have similar internal programming, then we should expect similar responses in that.
Zerolon points out the Alien TTRPG has great math rocks. I agree. I like the Alien TTRPG math rocks. In fact, I think I have those on my wish list.
Oh, good.
Yes. So if anyone wants me to have Alien TTRPG math rocks, there's a way to do it.
So, Bree of Hive Science says that it always makes me laugh when you have Ashanti listen to these guys. You enjoy listening to me suffer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she's in the same boat with everyone else who's here. They all like both of us suffering, but especially you, because I'm more used to it than you are.
Well, as who was it? Goobdo3 pointed out, if I were dark type, I would be immune to psychic damage.
Well, work on getting to be dark type.
Looks like I have a deal with the void to be making.
You just have to have a high enough friendship rating with your trainer at nighttime. It'll just happen. You'll become Vishanti Umbreon.
Oh my goodness, am I an evolution?
Yeah, sure, why not? I like the
Blended.
evolutions. I like Eevee.
That is definitely not my favorite Pokemon.
I don't think
anyone will guess it, though.
Geodude.
Nope.
I'm probably not going to keep going.
It's one of the original 150, because those are really the only ones I recognize.
Clefairy.
So that'll help you narrow it down quite a bit. Nope. You're not going to guess it.
Psyduck.
Just don't try. Nope.
Farfetch'd.
Nope.
Voltorb.
Vishantion.
Gandallion 1998 for $5 says, Hey, whose space shuttles do and do not sleep with are up to them as long as each space shuttles are both consenting adults with the Mothra emoji. We'll take it. Yes, it's very important that your space shuttles consent.
Yes.
So here's a condition, a cave, a really challenging environment. If the creatures were
alive?
programmed to reduce...
No,
they're not programmed.
Reduce their eyes.
Animals aren't computers.
You notice the slide?
Yeah. Oh, loss of eyes.
Nope, it's not Snorlax, and nope, it's not Porygon.
I hope that he actually gets into the loss of eyes and K-Fish, because I've also read the paper that he uses for this.
You guys are never...
It says loss of eyes. That's how evolutionists characterize this. They characterize things as...
Ninetales.
No. Also, Dapper, remind me, have there been cave-dwelling creatures that have dwelt in the caves for many generations that pretty much lost their eyesight and or body parts that would do photoreception?
Yes.
And then subsequently got them back?
Generally, no.
Because I'm pretty sure that's happened.
Well, so we're going to see a case where something like that happens, I think, coming up here. We're going to talk about it when we do.
Loss of function, broken, mutated, all of those things.
Broken.
Mutation and broken are not synonymous. We're just taking a drink for that.
If they adapt to an environment where they don't need eyes, that's not broken. That fits the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that you're adapted to an environment doesn't make you broken just because you're not also adapted to other environments. It's like calling a polar bear broken because it probably wouldn't do well in, like, the savannah. Okay, sure, I guess you can do that.
That's how they would call it, a loss of eyes. The reality is, we would say reduced eyes on purpose.
Oh, well, that's dumb.
Okay.
I don't even think I need to tell you why it's dumb. I think everyone here gets it. I'm taking a drink.
And if they had all of these other reduced characteristics...
name off Pokemon, they're going to try to get it. And I'm like, you guys are never going to guess it.
Well, I mean, eventually they'll get through all 151 Gen 1 Pokemon. Unless it's missing number.
I know, but that's...
Is it missing
but
number?
Yeah, it's... No.
Don't catch a missing number, by the way.
I have to tell you guys that one of my former roommates, bless her heart, she literally, until about 3 years ago, did not realize that Ekans and Arbok were snake and cobra spelled backwards. Bless her heart.
That's... Reminds me, a friend of mine didn't know that Alucard was just Dracula backwards. I was like,
Oh goodness!
come on, it's right
Bless
there.
your heart too.
Yeah.
Right there. The look on her face. Oh, great.
And they could augment all these other ways, then we would expect that we looked at all of these different creatures, whether they're cave fish.
He's got an Olm. I'm drinking for the Olm. Olms are great. Olm are these little tiny salamander dudes, and they're adorable. And who is it? That Christ. There's a guy who thought the dragons were real. Saw a picture of an Olm and was like, "I guess this must be a real dragon." Like, okay.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, we drink for Olms. Yeah, because they're great.
Fish, salamanders, insects, or whatever, they would all...
Right, because you didn't actually have an insect up there, so you went with whatever. Okay.
Amazing. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's some kind of a thing. It's got legs. Oh, it's an insect. No, dude. You got a decapod and a myriapod up there, and neither of those are hexapods, which is what insects are.
Show the similar responses to a cave, and they do.
Yeah.
And they show those very, very quickly on top of that.
You know, depends on what you mean by very, very quickly.
Snakes can get isolated
quickly.
Yeah, the paleness happens pretty quickly, but that's because a lot of pigmentation is actually a direct response to, like, how much radiation is hitting. Yeah, the sun.
Yeah.
Loss of eyes usually takes at least a few generations. I don't know what the other responses that we're supposed to know about are. Too young to feel this old says, I was today years old when I realized Alucard was Dracula backwards.
Oh, goodness.
It's okay, it happens.
Listen, it has to be somebody's first day to learn that, so
exactly.
Welcome to the club.
Off the coast of Australia, and they can get isolated on islands. And amazingly, within just a few generations, on some of the islands, all the snakes go to dwarf form. And on a few islands, all of them go to a giant form.
That really does make it sound like he's talking about Pokemon or something.
It really does.
Oh, man. Got some giant form snakes here. Oh, okay. Also, is he not aware that, like, size is something that changes very dramatically even without genetic change? Like, nutrition is a big part of the reason why humans today are taller than humans were a few centuries ago. Yeah,
I don't think that he really connects that.
Wait, is it Nidoqueen?
Nope.
So Suave says, for $2, AIG is a pack of inkless pens. Drink. Yeah, I'll drink.
That's nice. Very good.
All right, here we go.
And they do it very rapidly. But if you were to compare the genetics of all the snakes, mainland and on the different islands, they're genetically identical.
Oh goodness, I'm not going to be able to find this. Evolution 59, page 200. I mean, the citation is there. We might be able to pull.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what happens.
And no, it's not Pikachu. Goodness gracious.
Is it Raichu?
Nope.
Coughing?
Nope. Although sometimes I do make myself laugh, like when I actually do start to cough in real life. Sometimes I'll start laughing because in my head I hear cougher.
Okay, here it is. NationalInstitutesOfHealth.gov. Okay. Let's take a look. What does this actually say? I don't currently have access to the whole thing, but we'll at least read the abstract. Okay. It's a well-known phenomenon that islands can support populations of gigantic or dwarf forms of mainland conspecifics, but the variety of explanatory hypotheses for this phenomenon has been difficult to disentangle. The highly venomous Australian tiger snakes, genus Notechis, I think it's Notechis. I'm going to go with Notechis. Represent a well-known and extreme example of insular body size variation. They are of special interest, because there are multiple populations of dwarfs and giants, and the age of the islands and thus the age of the tiger snake populations are known from detailed sea level studies. Well, Randy doesn't agree with that, but okay.
Okay.
Also, this is what he means by rapid, apparently. Most are 5,000 to 7,000 years old, and all are less than 10,000 years old. So, okay. I don't think 5,000 years is that short of a time, but... Here we discriminate between two
Savage Cobra! Kinda official!
Oh, what was
You guessed it.
Didn't even see it.
It's
Where
Vulpix.
Vulpix. Let's see, someone did guess
Because
it.
people were getting desperate. They're just like copy pasting in like whatever Pokemon they haven't named yet.
Well, I mean, I did say Ninetales. That's close.
Close, but close only
Not-
counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Okay. All right. Here we discriminate between two competing hypotheses with molecular phylogeography dataset containing approximately 4,800 base pairs of mitochondrial DNA, demonstrate that the populations of island dwarfs and giants have evolved 5 times independently. In each case, the closest relatives of the giant or dwarf populations are mainland tiger snakes, and in 4 of the 5 cases, the closest relatives are the most geographically proximate mainland tiger snakes. Steve Reno sent a membership chat, and Steve Reno has been a member for 5 months and is at the tetrapod level. Saying that pelagic tunicate is greater than Dapper, and pelagic tunicate apparently equals Mothra. We'll take a drink for Mothra. But guys, I don't know why you would insult me like this. This is deeply hurtful.
Listen, you just put your kink out there for all of us. You enjoy being humiliated on stream. We figured it out, like, a long time ago.
Hell, people.
You literally put the the emoji right there, the tunicate. Goodness.
You're right. Moreover, these body size shifts have evolved extremely rapidly, and this is reflected in the genetic divergence between island body size variants and mainland snakes. Oh, wait, you mean it was a genetic divergence? So, epigenetics single generation stuff isn't going to cut it? Interesting. Who could have guessed that just the abstract of the paper that a young Earth creationist is citing would disagree with the young Earth creationist? How could anyone have seen this coming?
When you definitely do the research.
Vandalia 1998 for $2 says, Vishanti likes 6 tails. 9 is 3 too many. I mean, I can see how that could work.
I don't know. I mean,
you know, the Pokedex entry says that like Vulpixes are born with like 1 tail and they slowly grow more tails. So I want to know, like, where's the 1 and 2 and 3
excellent
tailed Vulpixes? Where are they?
Those have to be very, very, very rare.
I mean, but it should be all of them at some point, right? If they're born with only 1 tail and they grow more as they age.
You know, this is worthy of further investigation.
Yeah. Also, we need a baby form of Vulpix that only has 1 tail when it hatches, because all Pokemon come from eggs.
Oh my god, can you imagine how freaking adorable that would be?
It would be extremely adorable, although it would also just be a fox. The foxes are adorable.
That's actually, I would love to thank Pokemon for teaching me quasi-Latin roots for things, because that's actually how I remembered that Fox's Latin name was related to Vulpix.
Ah, Vulpes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Within southeastern Australia, where populations of island giants, populations of island dwarfs, and mainland tiger snakes all occur, maximum genetic divergence is only 0.38%. Dwarf tiger snakes are restricted to prey items that are much smaller than the prey items of mainland tiger snakes, and giant tiger snakes are restricted to seasonally available prey items that are up to 3 times larger than the prey items of mainland tiger snakes. We report the hypotheses that these body size shifts are due to strong selection. Oh, Randy! Randy, my guy! The paper you're citing, it says it's due to strong selection. My guy, that's rough. Oof. And our results are consistent with the notion that adaptive plasticity has also played an important role in body size shifts. Hey, that's a little bit on Randy's side there. A little bit. We suggest the plasticity displayed early on in the occupation of these new islands provided the flexibility necessary as the islands' available prey items became more depauperate. Good word. But once the size range of available prey items was reduced, strong natural selection, followed by genetic assimilation, worked to optimize the snake body size. Oh, man. The rate of body size divergence in Haldanes is similar to dwarfs, then there's a bunch of numbers, and giants, more numbers, and is in line with other studies of rapid evolution. Our data provide strong evidence for rapid and repeated morphological divergence in the wild due to similar... What do you guys think? Is it going to say similar engineered responses to the environment, or is it going to say similar selective pressures? What do you think?
I'm with So Suave. Imagine knowing what the paper says. LMAO.
Yeah. And of course, it says similar selective pressures acting in different directions.
Whoa!
Wow, look at that. We looked up a creationist source, and it says almost entirely the opposite of what he says it says. Weird.
That should be a drinking trigger, honestly, at some point.
I'll drink for it. Yeah, I'll drink for it.
When they cite a paper and it says the actual exact opposite.
Which it almost always does. When creationist cite sources, you can almost always guarantee that it actually supports the exact opposite of what their point is.
Again, it's like when you definitely do the research.
Mm-hmm. And this is something I brought up before, and I want to say it again. Like, if you're a creationist out there and you're watching this, I want you to ask yourself, why does this happen so much? Why is it so often that it's basically like clockwork that creationists will either not read the citations that they're citing, or they'll lie about the sources that they're citing? Is it perhaps because they're just wrong and there's no evidence to support them? I don't know. Maybe.
I'm going to make that Principal Skinner meme where it's captioned young Earth creationist going, is it me that's wrong? No, it's all the scientific papers that are out of touch.
Yes.
How are they able to do that? They're able to track their changes. You can find those type of dwarfing of creatures not just with snakes, but with all the other ones I show you on the screen. In fact,
okay, that lizard is adorable. Putting that out there. Oh, and hey, it's Paleoloxodon falconeri, the dwarf elephant. At least I think it's Paleoloxodon falconeri.
Is that a chameleon?
It is a chameleon, yes.
Nice.
That elephant is an island dwarf elephant, and at full size, it's only up to my waist.
Yep. Paleoloxodon falconeri was about 1 meter tall.
Only up to my waist. They're able to track
it's creationist backmasking. You have to read the paper backward. Amazing.
Oh.
Changes. You see the beetle on the left and you see the ant on the right.
No, I don't actually. Those are actually both beetles, because this is a paper about mimicry body plan, army ant social parasites. Dude, it's right there. I'm taking another drink.
No.
Come on, man. You wrote up there what it's about.
This is so bad.
It's the actual thing it's listed. Look,
it's literally labeled.
Look, most recent common ancestor of convergent myrmecoid lineages, free living in black, myrmecoid in orange. It's color-coded so you don't make this mistake, Randy. It's literally color-coded for you. It's like talking to a child who doesn't even want to learn. My God, it's right there.
Remember that time that I said he's giving me big Ralph Wiggum energy?
Yes. Yeah, that hasn't changed, has it?
Nope.
These
are ants!
I have to take another drink. Look at the ant on the right.
I think we reached a Hovend. This is at least one Hovend.
Yeah.
It's a singularity of Hovend.
Yeah, this is... I mean, at least the last time he didn't show the part of the paper that showed that it didn't say what he needed it to. This time it's just right here, guys.
Pro tip, don't show the thing debunking yourself where it's literally labeled and color-coded. Just don't do that.
So this is put on by Genesis Apologetics, and they have a video in which they're like, look at this secular book that's about fossil graveyards, and it lists flood or heavy rains as one of the causes for so many of them. Like, hey, yeah, but the thing you're showing on screen also has drought for part of them. So, you're trying to say that fossil graveyards are caused by the flood. How did drought happen in a flood? Well, your source debunks you right on screen? Oops.
No.
Of course.
But also reasons.
Yes, reasons. That is an important part of it. Reasons. Look at this. Convergence over deep time challenges the notion of evolutionary contingency. I mean, Randy, you're a young Earth creationist. You can't take this paper seriously. It's all about deep time. Amazing.
Goodness gracious.
On the screen. But that isn't an ant on the right.
Here.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the beetle.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. That was just a rhetorical device. Sorry about that, Randy.
This beetle, when it finds itself in the company of army ants, which would normally eat it, can detect the presence of these army ants, and there's internal programming that it can morph into the shape of the army ant.
No,
Man,
that's not
when
what
I need
it's...
someone to sing Stone Temple Pilots deep cuts with me.
But that's not what the paper said. The paper said that there are specific myrmecoid species that diverged, in some cases, millions of years ago. Not that individual ants can morph themselves. Okay, now we have to find this one. My goodness, this is amazing. We're gonna drink when it doesn't say what he says it does. Okay, so we got deep time convergence in rove beetle symbionts of army ants. Okay, Science Direct has it. Here we go. Okay. Army ant parasitic rove beetles comprise an ancient system of complex convergence. Beetles anatomically mimic and deceive host ants to exploit nest resources. Convergent clades arose in the Cenozoic and share a Cretaceous common ancestor. Convergence over deep time challenges the notion of evolutionary contingency. Got that there.
Deepak Chopra time.
All
Thank you,
right.
Fibonacci 8.
Seriously.
And while you're looking for that, Grace Brockett typed, drought is a well-known underpinning of floods, the inexplicable dry spot on the bottom of the raging torrent. It is known. Because otherwise, the facts don't fit the fable.
Yes. Oh, and yeah, look, okay, we're gonna switch over to the my main monitor view here in just a second. So let me make sure that I have everything set for. Okay, so we're taking a look here. So if Randy is correct, then there aren't free-living versus myrmecoid beetles. There's just a group of beetles that can morph. Except, what are these labels? Oxypoda, Atheta, Ectocryptus, and Pseudomymeseton. I'm gonna go with that. Pseudomymeseton. You guys, when you hear me fluidly list off scientific names in my videos, it's usually not my first take.
You know, I think, just on a very probationary basis, if you guys could convince all spiders to wear absurdly large mustaches and sombreros and shake maracas around, I would be completely fine with them being in my field division.
I mean, maybe that's what the spiders are like in Mexico.
I mean, it has to be all spiders, and they have to have a sombrero and a big mustache.
Okay.
Like, comically large.
Comically bigger than the spider itself.
Yes.
All right. So, of course...
Also, HiveSci notes beetles don't morph, they molt.
Good point. Also, if I remember correctly, they don't morph, or they don't molt after being adults, right? Like, once they finish that pupa stage, that's it. They're an adult. More morphin, molting, or anything like that. Anyway, yeah.
Mighty molten power beetles.
You know what? There's actually been a number of Beetle-themed Power Rangers, and some of them have had their theme changed by the Americans because they didn't think the beetle was cool enough.
What?
Yeah, it's lame.
That's silly.
Yeah. But it's obvious that they're still beetles, because then you look at like the Zord and it's like, it's a beetle. Why are you calling it a mantis? It's a beetle. Doesn't matter, it's the mantis Zord. Okay, sure. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Anyway, yeah, the reason that these names here are in italics is because those are genera. There are specific genera of myrmecoid beetles. We have parallel evolution of myrmecoid syndrome in Aliocarinae, which is the subfamily. Yep. See, we have this cladogram where you can see specific species are in fact myrmecoid, not single individuals morphing into myrmecoid shapes because they encounter ants. It's not what's happening here. Here we go again. The orange is the myrmecoid ants, not showing single species that are either free-living or ant parasites. The orange ones are all ant parasites. Okay. So we're taking another drink because, once again, of course, the paper shows almost exactly the opposite of what Randy wants to say it does. Take a drink again. Dr. DM Wings asks, and I'll read the TikTok membership chat right after, for $2, does he just look at the pictures? It's hard to imagine he does anything besides just that. Yeah. He saw a picture of a non-myrmecoid generalized body plan from a free-living allocarine beetle. Has an orange arrow pointing to myrmecoid body plans. And he's like, oh, see? They must have morphed during their lifetime into ant mimics. Which is literally not what the paper says. So TikTok says, been to Yucatan, can't confirm all spiders were mariachis. Here in Argentina, half of them are gauchos. The others wear messy soccer shoes. Oh, man. Is it just the spiders on the pampas that are the gauchos? Riding around, herding their cattle?
And Johnny Rapine did, in fact, join me singing Stone Temple Pilots Army Ants. Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Screen. But that isn't an ant on the right, that's the beetle. This beetle, when it finds itself in the company of army ants, which would normally eat it, can detect the presence of these army ants, and there's internal programming that it can morph into the shape of the army ant.
Randy, that's just a lie. I'm taking another drink. God. It's the literal opposite of what's happening here. I mean, I'm honestly speechless at how blatantly this man can just provide a source, say it says one thing, and then I check, and oh, shockingly enough, no, that's not what it says. But do the Beatles have Liverpool accents? I don't know. Good question.
And that's a picture of them. There's an army ant on the left, which would normally eat the beetle. There's the beetle right next to it, and it's morphed to look like, smell like, and behave like the army ant. In fact, they can morph into at least 9.
Those are separate species. We just looked at the paper. Oh my God. Take another drink.
He did not deserve the extra 10 minutes.
No, he did not. This is ridiculous. We just saw the paper. These are separate species. These aren't morphs of the same species. This is a whole subfamily of beetles, which, by the way, I don't know if you know, but beetle taxonomy, those taxa are really big.
They are real big.
Yeah, a subfamily for beetles is like an order for most other organisms.
Y'all, there's a lot of beetles in the world.
It's like everything's a beetle.
There's also been a lot more beetles in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Different forms of different army ants. Wow.
Yeah, that would be a wow if it were true, Randy. If it were true. But it's not. You're just a liar.
Dr. DM Wing is insisting that this is well past a Hovend.
It might be.
Like, congratulations, Randy. I didn't think it could be done, but...
Way to exceed the 1,000 millihoven barrier. Goodness. We'll be right up there with breaking the sound barrier. You broke the 1,000 millihoven barrier.
Is this worth a few extra minutes?
Faster than light travel.
Thank you.
You had to bend the fabric of space-time.
To get this stupid.
Yeah.
Savage Cobra, kinda official, for $5 says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Exodus 20:16. Yeah, well, that's just the 9th commandment.
Yeah, well, it's the Old Testament.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Christians say it's just the Old Testament. It doesn't count unless I want it to.
Right, yeah. It counts when I want it to, is the real answer to that. Like, oh, hey, it's socially unacceptable to say that the parts about slavery are good, but the part about stoning gay guys, we gotta totally enforce that part. Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Change my diet? No, man, that's for
No.
Jews.
I don't want to change
Eat
my
whatever
diet.
I want.
I just want to hate gay people.
I just want to hate queer people.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Ugh.
On that.
Cool.
The researchers said this. They proposed that the beetles were, quote, poised for mimicry, that is to become ant-like, and that this near-clade-wide pre-adaptive ground plan may underlie the repeated ant mimicry. Wait a second here.
Good.
Pre-programmed?
No.
They're not programmed.
Pre-adaptive ground plan. Nothing in that says pre-programmed. I'm taking another drink.
Bree says, I thought we all agreed that we had entered the Dark Hoven Epoch.
The Dark Hoven Epoch. Oh, I have the best audience in the entirety of YouTube.
I know.
You guys are amazing. I love you guys. Oh, Dark Hoven Epoch.
So good.
You guys have the greatest science memes, jokes. It's amazing. So, at least someone, maybe not Randy, read this paper. This is what he pulled out of it. At no point did he notice that nothing in the paper is about beetles morphing into ant shapes.
Adaptive ground plan? That sounds like it's what?
It sounds like certain animals are poised to be able to easily make similar adaptations. Just like, hey, more than one group of dinosaurs actually experimented with flying? Like you have the Scansauropterygids.
What?
Yeah, like you have the Scansauropterygids with their leathery membrane wings stretched across fingers, more like a bat. Then you have the actual, closer to Paravians, which actually went with the feathers as the main flight surface instead of having the membranous wings. But, as a rule, Maniraptoran dinosaurs as a whole had some pre-adaptations, like a set of muscles that were really good for making flappy motions, even in the ones that didn't fly. Interesting. Kira Brilo says Dapper secretly likes pelagic tunicates. That is the kind of thing that gets you hidden.
You created an entire emoji for it. What else are we supposed to conclude?
I was bowing to peer pressure. Yeah.
I'm going to press X to doubt.
It's built in, and these organisms are able to self-adjust. Eureka.
It's literally not what it said. It actually said the opposite of that. Taking another drink. This guy's going to just drive the drink counter into infinity.
I can't believe he actually might get me to finish my cider.
Yeah, you were like, I probably won't finish this cider. Well, it's Randy
And it's not
Galuza.
because I thought that the dumb would be low. It's not because of that. I just don't drink a lot. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'll be fine, but we've approached a singularity of dumb that is so intense.
I gotta get a picture.
Holding the fabric of space-time.
I gotta get a picture of Randy Galuza turning into a black hole of dumb.
Alert says this discovery, published in Current Biology, provides evidence that evolution, magical evolution, has the capacity to repeat itself in astonishingly...
Yeah, the magical part. It's
Flappy,
dumb.
flappy, long-lived Dappy.
predictable ways. Here's another cool creature. It's called a stick spider, and this is you found on Australia, in Hawaii, excuse me. And it comes in 3 different shapes at least. A gold form, which lives on leaves, a brown form, which lives on tree trunks,
close.
and a white
That's
one,
a color. They come in 3 shapes. The gold kind is so close, Randy. That's a color.
Can we just start calling him Ralph?
I honestly, I think he's Ralph Wiggum, just as an adult.
Oh, man. I want to hear him say something like, "It tastes like burning."
It tastes like burning.
I'll tell you what. Anyone who can find a way to get me a recording of Randy Galuza saying, "It tastes like burning," "My cat's breath smells like cat food," or "That's the sandbox, I'm not allowed in the deep end," or "Go banana." Any of those 4, I will give you...
Or "I'm in danger."
Yeah, or "I'm in danger." I will give you one of the merch items from my merch store. I'll just send it to you.
Splendid.
Yeah. Now, good luck. But like, yeah, I need Ralph
Listen, if they
Wiggum
can
quotes
make
from Randy
Obama
Galuzza.
rap Tupac, you can make Randy Galuzza say Ralph Wiggum lines.
Yeah, that's true. Also, this is a first come, first serve. It's not going to be like, the next 80 people who send me an AI mashup, Randy Galuzza and Ralph Wiggum are going to get like free mugs or something. One person. The first one.
Lives on lichen. And these researchers found that like if this gold one were to go to one of the other Hawaiian islands, it can change into the brown and white forms before the brown and white
Those are
forms from
still
other
colors,
islands even
Randy.
get there.
Okay.
Why did he say that they're shapes and then name colors?
Yeah.
It's literally, it's that tweet. It's that viral tweet that's like,
Oh, yeah.
Blueberries are the only fruit named after a color, and someone names, pineapples?
Starfruit.
Or what they name it?
Starfruit.
Starfruit, and they go, so close, that's a shape.
Yes.
That's him right now.
Marie BC FHS for 5,000... 50,000, sorry. Dong?
Vietnamese dong.
Vietnamese dong. Says, good day to you, our beloved Stratosaurus. Well, thank you very much. It's a good day to you, too. Alright, so here we go. Repeated diversification of ecomorphs in Hawaiian.
And what's funny is the caption right there. Stick spider. Stick is a shape.
Yes.
It's right there, and he could have read it, and instead he said, the gold kind.
Okay.
Savage Cobra, kinda official, says, this color goes in the square hole. Dr. DM Wing, I would say oranges, but I'm pretty sure we named the color after the fruit, and you are correct.
Yes,
We
the
did
color
actually
is in
name
fact...
oranges. Yeah, we named the color after the fruit.
Instar adaptive radiations, in which repeated bouts of diversification lead to phenotypically similar sets of taxa, serve to highlight predictability in the evolutionary process. However, examples of such repeated events are rare. Cross-clade comparisons of adaptive radiation are much needed to determine whether similar ecological opportunities can lead to the same outcomes. Here we report a heretofore, great word, uncovered adaptive radiation of Hawaiian stick spiders, Theridae, Ariamis. So that's the genus, the family in the genus. The genus is Therididae, sorry, in the genus Ariamnis, in which different species exhibit a set of discrete ecomorphs associated with different microhabitats. The three primary ecomorphs, gold, dark, and matte white, generally co-occur in native forest habitats. Phylogenetic reconstruction mapped onto the well-known chronosequence of the Hawaiian Islands shows that this lineage colonized the islands only once, more relatively recently, 2 to 3 million years ago, and that the distinct ecomorphs evolved independently multiple times following colonization of new islands. Parallel evolution of ecomorphs matches the spiny-leg, long-jawed spiders, Tetragnathidae, Tetragnatha. It's always fun when the family is just named after the most prominent genus. Also in Hawaii. Both lineages are free-living, and both have related lineages in the Hawaiian Islands that show quite different patterns of diversification, with no evidence of deterministic evolution. We argue that repeated evolution of ecomorphs results from a rugged adaptive landscape with few peaks and associated with camouflage for these free-living taxa, markedly low diversity of predators on isolated islands. These features, coupled with limited genetic toolbox and reduced dispersal between islands, appear to be common to situations of repeated evolution of ecomorphs. So,
Okay.
Once again, this is not an example of an organism showing up in a new environment and then that particular individual changing into one of these ecomorphs. These are genetically determined ecomorphs. So we'll take another drink for, hey, thanks for showing a paper that doesn't say what you want it to.
Curtis Smith in the chat noted that they thought that Randy said shade instead of shape. And if that is the case, Randy, learn to enunciate.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So it can change itself quite rapidly. And these researchers said, we usually don't expect evolution to be predictable, but Hawaiian stick spiders of the Aramnus genus have repeatedly evolved the same distinctive forms known as ecomorphs on different islands. The researcher was a gal. She said, the spiders, quote, arrive on the island and boom, you get independent evolution to the same set of forms, this sort of rapid and repeated evolution. Now,
I mean, it's rapid on the timescales that evolution deals with, not on the timescales that Randy needs it to be, but okay.
I can't, no, and boom, no, Randy. It is not like that.
It'd be cool if it were, though. Like if a spider just exploded into differently shaped spiders. Sorry.
I said it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah. All right, Carrie Bronson for $5 says, ICR is David's dowry gift to Saul, which is to say a bag of several separate schlong scabbards.
A deep cut!
Amazing. Yeah, I'll take a drink.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, but if those Philistines weren't slaughtered with the jaw of a donkey, I don't want to hear about it.
Was it really evolution?
Showing up to somebody's house, being like, "Hey, I'm gonna marry your kid. Please accept this gift of checks pockets, foreskins."
Okay, but to be fair, that's what Saul asked for.
I mean, yes, it's just, you read that today and you're just like,
Yes.
oh, okay, thanks.
Although also,
an avocado, thanks.
Circumcision was actually widely practiced at the area at the time, during the setting of this story. So chances are that IRL Philistines probably actually did circumcise there.
Johnny Rapine, I'm dead. Carrie, what would that even look like? Poor crying. Crying.
Probably a lot more blood, but yeah.
Is Chris McDaniel ditching us for Bacula Quantum Leap or the new Quantum Leap without Bacula?
Yeah. If there's no Bacula, is it really Quantum Leap? At least this time they probably won't spell the character's name wrong.
Oh, that's so painful.
I know.
Why'd you have to remind me that?
I mean, you're here for the pain, right? You don't come to this show and then expect there to be pain-free. But also, we're actually going overtime. All right, guys.
Hey.
We get to wrap
this up. All right, guys.
Up.
So we're on overtime rules. So that means that the play clock will continue to run as normal. However, you're gonna have to start at the, I believe it's 30 or the 25-yard line. And whoever scores first, the other team has to answer, or else the game is over.
Or we're going to wrap up.
Okay, that too. I was going to say, how close is Randy to being done? Because
oh, not even a little bit close.
He only asked for 10 more minutes.
No, there's okay, so Randy's actually probably pretty close to being done. But the video...
That's what I was saying. Is like, if Randy's got, maybe a minute or two left, then okay, but... he's going to just ramble on.
Let's see how much longer he's got. So we're at 1 hour and 40 minutes right now. Oh yeah, then so... Oh god, this guy comes up 10 minutes later.
What?
Oh goodness, I know this guy. Guy is, Dave Reeves. He's something. But that's not for 8 minutes. I don't want to sit here through 8 minutes more of Randy Knight.
Ew, yeah, no,
yeah,
that's going to be at least a half hour more. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have 8 minutes. Okay. So, guys, what's coming up this calendar time? What is it, a week? Is that what the calendar is divided into? All right, so on the 23rd, I have a video coming out. Dinosaurs Die in the Cold. ICR Lies About Dinosaurs, Part 2 of 3. Because according to our ICR scientists here, apparently dinosaurs just can't live in the cold. Which is news to me, given, animals like Eutyrannus and Nanoxaurus and what was Ugranalik once upon a time, or Polacanthus or Cryolophosaurus, all of which lived in very snowy areas, or just, penguins. Penguins exist. Yeah. They do just fine in the cold. So, that's going to be on Thursday, which is the 23rd. Okay. Then on the 25th, I'm not sure what's happening. It may well be just a continuation of this Dapper Reacts. So you may well get more...
I will not be there.
No, you will not.
Because guess who messed up their schedule again? It was me.
I know, you told me.
Mhm.
But that's okay. As long as you don't mix your schedule up in a month from now.
Okay, fair.
Don't mess up that schedule. Alright guys, that's about as far ahead as I'm going to look. If you are someone who has early access to my videos, I was hoping to get a video out today. That didn't happen, because of me basically waking up and saying nope, and sleeping for the next
So jelly.
8 or 9 hours, because yeah, I was not doing too well this morning. So sorry about that. I'm hoping to have it in the next couple days, but you know what? You got 2 last week. There you go. All right, guys, we are going to get out of here. Thank you very much to everyone who's here. 115 people, I think, at peak, which is amazing. Thank you all so much for the super chats, the new memberships, all that stuff. If you want to keep supporting the channel, there is a link to the Patreon down in the description, as well as you can join the channel. There's a merch store, Teespring store, where you can get mugs, t-shirts, baby onesies, stickers, blankets, pillows, all sorts of stuff. Also, I have a wish list where there's a lot of stuff on there. I don't need rice right now, so...
Yeah, I don't think you need rice ever.
You don't have to get me rice if you want to get something. There's other options besides the rice. So I recommend that at least for the next few months, if you want to go and buy me something from my wish list, don't buy the rice. Because I currently have about 90 pounds of rice. It's going to take me quite a while to go through it.
You're Ceratosaurus. How many pounds of rice do you eat in a week?
Well, most of what I eat is
Probably
meat.
a lot.
The bulk of what I eat is...
Well, you gotta have something to digest it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's not that much more than a human. Alright, anyway, we're going to get out of here, guys. I hope to see all of you on Thursday. Those of you who are in the Discord server for the members and patrons, please, if you want to, head over there, and in a few minutes, we will be doing a Power Rangers stream. So, watch a few episodes of Power Rangers. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, but before you go, I just want to say a special thank you to my channel members and my patrons, especially those pledging $20 or above.
Bob Knob, Work in Progress, Ben Tovind, Tapioca Weasel, Cynically Skeptic, Denny5252, Elron Teller, Farava, Ian Chen, Landon Knoll, Mabdy Babbity, San, Sphincter of Doom, and the Venerable Bede.
As you probably know, YouTube is a very volatile platform, and from month to month my income on the channel can swing wildly. But the people you see on screen are directly supporting so that I don't have to worry too much about that, and the channel can keep going as it is, and perhaps even improving. If you'd like to join this team, there are links below to join the channel or in the description to join the Patreon. The Patreon starts as low as $1 a month, and the channel memberships start as low as $1.99 a month. On Patreon, you can even get a discount for pledging annually. If you do decide to pledge, you'll get access to an exclusive Discord server just for channel supporters, as well as early access to all of my pre-recorded videos, often up to 2 months in advance. Higher tiers will unlock even better perks. Now, if the annual or monthly pledge isn't right for you, but you still want to support the channel, there is a merch store down in the description, as well as an Amazon wishlist, just for me. And if financial support isn't something you can or want to do, then if you still want to help out the channel, please just like and share these videos and make sure you comment on them. It really helps the channel out. Thanks again for watching.